Hello everyone. I'd like to do Marianna's Jasmine baby jacket for everybody. I picked this Baby Bee Sweet Delight that I got from Hobby Lobby. It's really squishy. It's a nice soft yarn, double knit. Mint Charm, gender neutral, squishy fluffy yarn. And for this project, you are going to need either some straight needles, or you can use your circs. I love using the circular needles. These are 4mm needles, so whatever you're going to do, straight or circular, you need 4mm needles. Double knit yarn, you're also going to need 2 stitch holders, and those are going to hold the sleeves on. So I'll get those out of the way. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to cast on 63 stitches with my circular needles. Now, if things seem a bit discombobulated, guys, you gotta forgive me. I got a whole lot of kids here. Every day I have a whole lot of kids. I have 7 kids. 4 of them are small boys. So who knows what we're going to see in these videos. Well, first off, we're going to see me casting on for 63 stitches. And oh my goodness, look how fast I'm casting on. I sped up a lot of this. This is the very first video of any type on YouTube that I've ever made. So if it's a bit crazy, forgive me. That's just how I am. So I'm casting on these 63 stitches. I'm using this really stretchy long tail cast on that I know. I don't know what it's called, the Norwegian cast on or Swedish. I learned it a long time ago. But you can kind of see what I'm doing here. You kind of drop your thumb down. There's an extra wrap, and it makes it really stretchy. My hands are getting closer and closer to the camera. It's really hard to knit with a tripod directly in front of your face. Surprisingly difficult. But here we go. Get our 63 stitches on there. I'm counting them. Do I have the right amount? Nope, looks like I need a few more. This is really nice yarn. It's from Hobby Lobby. I love Hobby Lobby. And there we go. There's our smiley face of stitches of our cast-ons. 63 of them. And now we're going to do row 1 and 2. And they're just knitting. You're just going to do row 1 and row 2. And they're just knit. There's nothing special about these first 2 rows. Now, I do have to tell you, I'm not going to have every single row put on the screen as an instruction because it is Marianna Mel's intellectual property. You are going to need to go to her website. It's linked in the description, and get the free pattern. So you're definitely going to need to have the free pattern in order to follow along here with me. So definitely get that. So here we are. I'm just knitting that first row. Dead air. It's one thing, you're not supposed to have dead air. I'm supposed to keep talking. But here we go. Getting to the end of that first row. And the second row will be exactly the same. We'll just be knitting. And then row 3 will be our buttonhole row. It's a lovely pattern. And the baby you saw in the intro, she's one of my favorite babies. There's so many babies around here. And she's just a really, really sweet one. So there we go. our next row, we just knit again. And this is now row 3. So you can see I've done the 2 rows. And now I'm doing row 3. And this is our buttonhole row. And for people who don't know how to do buttonholes, they're very easy. They're just done with yarn overs. This one is, you see where knitting 2. And then I'm just bringing my yarn forward as if to purl, but I'm not going to purl. I'm just going to knit. And then knit 2 together. So I knit 2, yarn over, knit 2 together. And that makes a buttonhole. And then I'm going to knit to the end of the row. So knit 2, bring your yarn forward as if to purl. Don't purl though. Knit 2 together, and that's going to make a buttonhole, and it'll keep your stitch count the same. Now, after row 3, you're going to do row 4 and 5, and they're just going to be knit, just like we've been doing. So we're making the collar here, and the collar is just garter stitch. So after we finish our buttonhole row here for row 3, we're going to do row 4 and 5, and both of them are just knit. So I'll show you a brief little picture of what that looks like, and then we'll move on to row 6 quickly. So there's our buttonhole. That's what it looks like. You can see it looks like a funny stitch. When you go back over and knit it again, it looks a bit funny. So row 4 and 5 knit, and it's going to look like that. And we'll move on to row 6. Row 6 and all those even rows are going to be worked the same until we get down to about row 30. So I'm not going to include those in there. They're all exactly the same. But I will show you how to do it. First of all, obviously you should know how to do it. Row 6 and all those even rows for a while now, they're all going to be knit 4 and purl to the last 4 stitches, and then knit 4 again. So knit 4, purl to the last 4 stitches, knit those 4 stitches. So I've got my 4 on there. Now I'm just gonna purl. Just gonna purl to the last 4 stitches. It's gonna be every even row after this until about row 30. Oh, there I go. Knitting again. Like the wind. If you're wondering why I'm doing a voiceover, it's because I just did these videos in snips and snaps, and I do have a lot of little boys running around, and there's a lot of noise in this house, and a lot of crazy things being said, as you can imagine. I'm being attacked with dump trucks and dinosaurs and all sorts of things. I've tried to edit a lot out of these videos, but I think some things made it in. So here we go. This is how we're going to do that. Row 6 and all the even ones after that. Get down to those last 4 stitches and then knit those. Maybe I'll put some music in my next video. I have this booty pattern that I've been making for quite some time now. I think I'm going to make a video tutorial for that. So there you go. That's what that looks like. And we're going to move on to row 7. And this is where the pattern starts the increases. We're going to start those increase rows. And so read your pattern. It'll tell you how to do it. I'll start you off. So I don't know why my camera keeps going in and out and in and out like that. Forgive me. My videos will get better. Well, we hope they get better anyways. So now for the increase rows, they're a little more complicated. So the first thing we're going to do is knit 11. So we're just going to knit 11 stitches, and then we're going to do a knit front back, and that's how we're going to increase. That's how we're going to make those shoulder seams to create those sleeves. This is a raglan style jacket. So a 1, 2, 3, there we go. I'm a thrower, in case anybody hasn't noticed. I'm not a flicker. I know that's much faster. I've tried. I just can't make my fingers do it. So here we go. Let's knit those 11 stitches on there. Oop, made a little mistake. Let's fix that. This yarn is a bit splitty. I've crocheted with it a lot. Not knitted too many times with it. It's a bit splitty. I don't know if anybody's noticed that. Okay, so now we're going to get to our knit front back. 9, 10, 11. There we go. All right. So knit front back is you're going to go in just like you're knitting regularly. Go right in there. Wrap your yarn around just like you're going to knit. Pull your stitch up, but do not take it off the hook. I mean the needle. Don't take it off the needle. Instead, knit right into the back of the very same stitch. Right in there. Just going to knit it right in the back. And pull it off. And then see you've got an extra stitch. It looks like an extra purl. Makes a little cute purl bump there, but you've got an extra stitch. So our shoulder seams are going to make our garment grow. And this is a very cute little jacket. So we did our knit front back, knit 1, and then knit front back again. So we knit 11, knit front back, knit 1, knit front back. Oop. Well, it would be nice if you could see what I was doing. There we go. So check out your pattern. It's just basically going to be telling you how many knits, then a knit front back, knit 1, knit front back. Tells you how many to knit. You should have 71 stitches by the end of this row. There's that knit front back again in case you missed it. There's lots of ways to increase, and this is the one that this pattern calls for. I do a lot of Marianna Mel's patterns. They're mostly free patterns, and they're great for charity knitting and crocheting. Can't say enough about it. Well, apparently I'm showing you something, but it's not on camera. Oh, I've made a mistake. Pop that stitch back on my needle. Yeah, we're just showing the good, bad, and the ugly here. There it is. Looks like a little purl. That extra stitch that it's created at the shoulder seams. And they're really going to blossom out and look nice. It's your knit front back. And we go along. And I'm pretty sure my fingers are going to start to fly here any minute. Maybe I'm wrong. My husband helped me do the edit. Oh, there I go. He helped me do the editing. Editing is no joke. It took about as long to edit as it did to make the sweater. If only I could knit that fast in real life. So, basically I'm telling you, follow the directions on the pattern. For row 7 there, it's where we are, row 7. There's our last stitch. And there we go. Starting to blossom. There's our collar and our first increase row. Now remember, row 8 is the same as row 6. They're all identical, all the even rows. So that you're going to do that even row now. So let's go to row 9. There we go. It's growing. My camera is just zooming in and out for no apparent reason. Now, for this row, hopefully it'll be on camera. Okay, good. For this one, we're going to knit 12. And these rows are going to get bigger. They're going to increase. I love these. I love circular needles. Once I switch to circular needles, there's just not a whole lot of stuff I want to do on straight needles anymore. And I've gotten into the habit of converting almost every pattern that I can into doing it in the round. But for this this row 9 here that we're doing, we're knitting 12. And forgive me, I know my hand is going to keep going off camera here in this particular clip because I got a little guy reading me a book right next to me. So we've got knit 12 and then do that knit front back, knit 1, and do the knit front back again, and then knit 7, and it goes on. There's always going to be one stitch in between your knit front backs. But then in between those little groupings of knit front back, knit 1, knit front back, your stitch count will increase. There'll be 79 stitches at the end of this row. There I go, showing that knit front back again. It's kind of a fun one. I should have some music in here. That's what I should have done. Have some music for when I'm not talking. And here I go. Knitting like the wind again. So we did our row 10, which was our even row. Oh no, where are we? We did our row 12. No, row 10. Oh, goodness gracious. I am so sorry. I'm crazy. Where are we now? We're on row 11 now. So we're going to knit 13 now. And then do our knit front back, knit 1, knit front back. I just apologize for the craziness of this video. I hope it makes sense. I hope it makes sense to someone. I hope someone can follow along with this and learn how to make this sweater. I just don't have a whole lot of faith in my ability to teach someone how to do that. But we're having fun, right? We're having fun. And you're watching someone knit. So that's row 11 that we're on. Remember, all your even rows are going to be the same as row 6. And I haven't put them in the row lineup. So just remember to do those in between. After every increase row, going to do those purl rows. Stay with me, people. I promise it gets better. We're going to have a beautiful sweater at the end. Get to see me make some mistakes too. Just knitting around a tripod just changes things. Changes your whole perspective. Maybe I'll film an entire knitting video as fast as it is when I'm, or just keep going there. That's what I'm telling you. My hands are telling you to finish that row and then do your purl row. And then we're on to 13. There you can go, you can see those increases are starting to go somewhere. You can see our button bands taking shape there. The purl rows are really what create the button band, with those knit fours in the beginning and the end. So where we're row 13, so we're going to knit 14. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Then we're going to do our knit front back. Here we go. Get it in there into the back of that stitch. Wrap yarn around, pull it through. Knit 1, knit front back. Create our little secret cute purl bump increases. And here I go. I'm going to knit an entire thing in 5 minutes. Oh, what have I done? Some kind of mistake. Well, I'm glad it's fast forwarding through it so you can't see what I was doing. I'll just pretend this is how fast I really knit. I can knit quickly when I put my mind to it. When there's not a tripod in my lap. Maybe I'll get really good at knitting with a tripod in my lap. And actually keeping the work on camera. That would be good too. Almost to the end of this row. Then we're going to do our next purl. Look at that. Those increases are starting to look really nice. They're taking shape. Going to do our even purl row. And then we'll move on to row 15. Yep. I'm telling you something. I had an internal dialogue in my head. Here we go. Now we're going to do another buttonhole row. This is our row 15. And it's a buttonhole row and an increase row. Double whammy. So here we go. Oh, those increases look so nice. They just do. When it all lines up like that, it's just so lovely. Satisfying. Maybe it's just me. I'm not a very exciting person. I'm pretty boring. Knit front, back, perfectly straight increase rows make me excited. So here we go. We're gonna knit 2. So we've knit 2, and then I'm bringing it forward as if to purl, but I'm not purling. I'm going to knit 2 together. And then I made my little funky yarn over stitch. It's important when you come back, when you're purling back on the next row, that you really pick those up and don't drop them, because it can really make a mess if you do. When I was a brand new knitter, I picked the hardest thing I could possibly find because I wanted to really teach myself to knit. And boy, I made some messes. I did make some messes. So on this buttonhole row, basically what we've done on row 15 is knit 2, yarn over, knit 2 together, that makes the buttonhole. Then we have, and what we're doing now is we're knitting 11, and then we'll do our knit front back, knit 1, knit front back. You follow the pattern for the remainder of the row. It would be great if I on this pattern could truly do a row by row and have all the instructions on the screen, but it's you can't really do that unless you get express written consent from the pattern writer, even for a free pattern. Oh, look at our lovely row there. Look at our lovely shoulder increases. So as of yet, I've not heard from her, so we're going to do it this way. I do, however, have some other patterns lined up that I've spoken to other pattern writers and creators, and we are going to do some real row by rows for those, because they've said they really don't mind. So here we go. Going to do that, finish that up, do our purl row, move on to 17. And here we go. Boy, that was fast. In the blink of an eye, I did all that. Oh, look how nice that's coming along. It's blossoming. My needle's starting to get crowded, though. That's all right. There's our buttonholes. And so, as you see, the stitches are increasing. Knit 16 to begin with this time. So I've knit over my buttonhole row there. Made a nice little buttonhole. 16 knits in here. It's about 10 o'clock at night right now. All my littlest guys are sleeping. If you hear snoring, that's what it is. I haven't fallen asleep in the voiceover. Fun fact, I actually stole the lamp out of my older daughter's room in order to have enough light to do this in the night. So we just have the one overhead light in our room, which is where I'm filming it. And it just wasn't enough light. My videos look dark, so there's a stolen lamp there on the side, just off camera. There we go. Proceeding with row 17. There we go. Knitting all fast. You're probably getting sick of hearing that. I think it's funny. It's like one of those old Benny Hill sketches. You know, where he's running around all fast and it's sped up. So go ahead and finish that row and do your purl row for 18 and we'll move on to 19. And here we go, and a cup of tea has magically appeared. I do not know how that happened. So for this row, row 19, is that where we are? We're at row 19. There we go. Follow along with your pattern. Knit that increase row up to your first little front back shoulder cluster. And the purl rows on the way back, they really anchor. They really anchor that. Oh, look at that. It's just delicious. Those lovely shoulder increases. I love a raglan sweater on a baby. I just do. Well, I love all hand knits, really. I'm kind of a hand knit junkie. We are expecting baby number 8, and it's a little girl after 14 years and a whole lot of crazy little boys. And I am knitting my fingers off. Look at that lovely increase there. I love how you've got your V. The stitches just go off in the different directions, and you got your cute little increase. I love a raglan sweater. So yes, I am knitting all the things, all the things, all the things that are pink and yellow and orange and just every kind of fluffy, flowery, tulipy thing that you can imagine. All right, so now we're moving on to rows 21 through 25. We did our purl increase, we did our purl row, obviously for 20, and look at that. Look what that looks like now with all our increases. Just do 21, 22, 23, 24, 25 in the pattern that we have established. The even rows of those purl rows. Looks pretty nice. So here we're going to go to row 27, which is a buttonhole row. So here we go for that buttonhole row. Remember, we're going to knit 2. And our yarn over. And our knit 2 together. And then we're going to knit the specified number of stitches. And this is actually the last row of our increases. After this, it starts to get crazy. It gets easier again, but this is where we're going to start slipping stuff onto our stitch holders. So we'll get through this row. Oh, Looks like I got lost for a second. Nope, just gonna do a knit front back. And I imagine you are pausing this video an awful lot so that you can catch up with where I am. And that's what you should be doing. Or else it won't make any sense. If it's making any sense at all. Forgive me. Where's one of those magically appearing cups of tea when I need one? So there we go. We got our buttonhole. We got everything's going, telling you to complete that row. And we're going to row 29. And so now we're done doing those even rows. Row 28 was the last one of those even purl rows. Look at that. Lovely. Row 29 now. Here we go. Getting somewhere. Here's where we make those shoulders into sleeves. We're going to knit 24 stitches. 3, 4. Did we fast forward this? I'm not sure. 5, 6. Doesn't look like it. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Ooh, got some glitches. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Okay, now, here's where we get to an interesting part. Pull out your stitch holder. These are the small stitch holders. And we're just going to kind of slip them off of the needle and onto the stitch holder. We're going to slip 30 of them. So let's get all 30 of them on there. And really, you can use any kind of stitch holder that you want to. You don't have to use this kind. Some people just knit it onto a piece of scrap yarn, or they thread a piece of scrap yarn through those stitches. And that's fine too. Any method you want that's going to hold those 30 sleeve stitches on there. Whatever works for you. But we're going to get 30 of them on there. There we go. And close that up so they can't escape. It's like a giant safety pin. A giant diaper pin, really. And then we're going to awkwardly squish that together. Find a way to squish that together so that your needles can once again come together to knit more stitches. Something's happening over there. I don't know what it is. Well, whatever it wasn't too big of a deal. But here we go. That first one's going to be a little funny. So make sure you get it as tight as you can. So now we just going to knit 43. So I'm knitting 43 stitches now. So I'm telling you, you're going to go across that 43. You're going to slip your next 30 stitches for the shoulder, and then knit 24. So we knit 24, slipped 30, knit 43, slipped 30, and then knit 24. You should have 91 stitches by the end of that. Oh, and look how nice it looks now. It's starting to look like a sweater. It's starting to make sense and take shape. And look at those lovely increases of the shoulder. And that nice button band. And I have, after the, after I did all that slipping and knitting, you're going to do just a knit row, and then, oh goodness, I've made it terrible. I'm behind. I am behind. I hope you're following along with your pattern, because if not, I've just majorly screwed you up. So what I did is I did row 29, and then I did row 30, which was knitting 23, knit front back, and knit to the end, which gave you 92 stitches. And then I knit 4 rows of just knit. So that's what I've done. And that gives you 92 stitches at the end. And I believe now we're working on our Jasmine pattern. Yes, we are. So my goodness, you might even just turn this voiceover off so I'm not screwing you up anymore. You're probably thinking, how does this woman create anything at all, getting as confused as she does? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. But this Jasmine pattern is really fun. So what we're doing now, as you can see, is we knit 5 for our button band. And like the instructions said, we are yarning over, which is when you're just doing knit, it's like a buttonhole. Yarn forward. So we knit 5, yarn over, knit 2 together, and then you're just going to repeat. Yarn over, knit 2 together. Yarn over, knit 2 together. And you do that until there's only 5 stitches left on your needle, and you knit those 5 for the button band. I apologize for editing out an entire instruction there. But the Jasmine pattern is so pretty once it's knit up. It's like a little zigzag. Yarn over, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 2 together. Your rows are shorter now. And we're halfway there. Do it all the way to the end. Knit your 5 stitches for your button band there, as I'm showing you. Don't forget to do that. That's important. You can get on autopilot sometimes. So now we're going to go to the second portion, the second row of the Jasmine pattern. And we're going to knit our 5 first stitches for our button band. And now you come to your wonky looking stitches. Trust me, it looks funny. You're doing it right. You're going to yarn over for a purl. It's funny. If you're going from a knit to a purl, you got to really wrap that yarn around there, just like that. Looks like you're wrapping it too many times, but you're not. You want it to be back in the front to go to your purl, but still have your yarn over your extra little stitch created there. So now we've yarned over and we're purling 2 together, and that's what it is. Wrap it around to the front, yarn over, purl 2 together. Yarn over, purl 2 together. All the way across. Yarn over, purl 2 together. Those yarn overs are so versatile. You can do so many different things with them. Yarn over, purl 2 together. And it's ingenious because this Jasmine pattern, there's really only 2 repeats, row 1 and row 2, and you just continue them in a certain specific order, and you get your lovely little zigzags. So we're going to do that all the way across, all the way around, till you get to your last 5 stitches, where we, of course, don't forget to switch over to knit to make our button band. And then the next thing you do, for the next 6 rows, rows 5 to 10, you're just going to slip 1 and then knit to the end. Slip it as if to knit and then knit to the end. And that's it for rows 5 through 10. And then we're going to repeat that. So as you can see, we've done row 1, row 2, row 1, row 2. And that's all it is. And then now we're going to do those rows 5 to 10. And that separates our little pattern repeats. Row 1, row 2, row 1, row 2, 5 to 10. And here's what it looks like when you're done. Here's where we've gotten so far. Look how cute that is. Row 1, row 2, row 1, row 2, then row 5 to 10, slip 1, knit to the end. So then we're going to repeat those 10 pattern rows 3 more times. So just do exactly what we've done, starting with row 1, row 2, row 1, row 2. And then here's what it looks like. So we've done it 4 times total. 4 times total. The whole 10 row pattern repeat. And now we're going to cast off. Now, the pattern doesn't say to do this, but I like to cast off in purl. I just think it makes a nice looking edge if we're doing it from the inside, which we are. So I'm going to go ahead and cast off in purl. But that's just me. I don't know if you can hear it or not, but my 2-year-old is snoring very loudly. It sounds like there's a truck idling behind me right now. So here we are, casting off in purl. Now look at this, we're like halfway through. Well, we're more than halfway through this video. What was the total length of this video? Like an hour and 8 minutes, something like that? I'm not sure where we're at. Where are we? We're at 50 minutes and 52 seconds. So we're way beyond half. Knitting, casting off in purl here. Oh, it's so satisfying to cast off. Ah. Oop, made a mistake. What have I done? Get my stitches back. Oh, I'm hiding my mistake with fast forward. So maybe you won't notice. But here we go. Getting to the end. All right. All that's really left now is your sleeves and sewing those sleeves up. Now, I've tried to take great care after this in how to do the sleeves and how to make them look nice. So after we finish casting off here, let's see if I can help anyone with sleeve trouble. And I just feel like these little tiny baby sweaters, sometimes, those tiny 9-inch circular needles, they're still too big to do sleeves. In the round anyways, is what I mean. So here we go, casting off our bottom edge, getting to our sleeves. My word. It's like I'm stuck in Groundhog Day. Casting off forever. Oh, there we go. Oh, I dropped my phone, but we're going to pretend you didn't see that. We're just going to pretend that didn't happen at all. Oh, look how nice. There we go. Pretty little thing. Be pretty with short sleeves or long sleeves. I'm going to do long sleeves though. There we go. Moving the camera around. Going on a little trip. That's the top-down view. As the bird flies. Alright, now sleeves. Put those 30 stitches back on the needle. So pick a side. Any side. and just slip them back on. Now I'm slipping them back on as if to purl, because I have a purl side facing me. So the purl side is facing me. Oh, get around that corner, you stitches. There we are. Getting them all on there. Oh, maybe I should have fast forwarded through this. Or maybe not. What are my neighbors doing? Oh my goodness. It sounds like they're having a tractor pull outside or something. My goodness. I hear squealing wheels and heavy-duty trucks. My goodness. Revving engines. Okay, so we've done that. We have slipped those stitches. And now, with the knit side facing us, so with the right side facing, and this is important, with the right side facing, we are going to slip one, knit to the end. Got to join your yarn, obviously. Got to have yarn to do your stitches. That's an important factor here. And I don't know how you join your yarn. This is how I join my yarn. Give me a better way to join yarn, guys. But here we go. My word, can you people hear that? It sounds like it's Sunday, Sunday, Sunday over in my neighbor's yard. It is loud. There's monster trucks. I'm sure if I look out my window, I'm going to see monster trucks like leaping over rows of 30 cars or something like that. Knitting, Louisa, focus. Focus on knitting. Here we go. We are knitting, slipping one, knitting to the end. So there we go. We've got to the end of the knit, our knit row. And now we're going to slip one, purl to the last stitch, and knit one. The reason we are doing that is because it gives us a nice edge to sew together. And I'm going to sew this together with a mattress stitch. And I haven't given you a tutorial on how to do that. There are so many wonderful videos on how to do a nice mattress stitch. And if you learn how to do a nice mattress stitch, it will change your knitting game, I promise. So here I am, slipping one, purling away to my last stitch, and then knitting it. And you probably want to count periodically to make sure you haven't increased any stitches. You should still have your 30 stitches. And Now we're going to do it for 5 inches. You're going to do that for 5 inches. Row 1, row 2, row 1, row 2 for 5 inches. And there we go. And here's what it looks like when it's done. For me, it was about 26 rows. Pardon me. I've got a frog in my throat. So for me, it was about 26 rows. You're going to want to make sure that you end on a wrong side row so that when you flip it back around, ready to do this next row, you're all ready to knit. So now what we're going to do for this next row is knit 2 together, knit until the last 2 stitches, and then knit 2 together. There should be 28 stitches left when you're done. So let's knit 2 together, knit all the way across to the last 2 stitches, and then knit 2 together again. That was my toddler's feet you saw there. He's 2 years old, and he is my big helper. He has helped me all through this, handing me things and giving me things and keeping me company and driving trucks up and down my arms while I'm knitting so I'm not bored and lonely. He's lovely. He is lovely. So there we go. And now we're just going to knit 4 rows. Let's go ahead and knit those 4 rows now. Knit for 4 rows and cast off. And I'm not casting off in purl, because you're going to want that. You're going to want those purl bumps on the right side, so that it matches up, because you've got 3 purl bumps on all the other rows, and here we've got 2, and so our last cast off will be kind of like a row of purl bumps. She's lovely making these patterns, thinking of those things. Definitely look Marianna Mel up on Ravelry. Go to Ravelry.com, look her up. So many patterns. And she's got a couple of paid ones, and they're worth it. Definitely, I would recommend buying one of her patterns. They're so well written. So easy to follow. And she just has this knack for just creating something beautiful out of just simple stitches. So here we go. Knitting those 4 rows, casting off. And there we go. Have we come to the end? We have. We have. Let's see. Just like I told you, I promised, there you'd have your 3rd row of purl bumps. Oh, it's just lovely. I am enamored of this jacket. So lovely. So now you're going to sew those sleeves up. Use a mattress stitch. Well, obviously you want to do the 2nd sleeve. That's important here also. Unless you're going for an asymmetrical look. But you're going to want to slip those off. Slip them off as if to purl. with the wrong side facing you, so that you can knit on your very next row. So you can just make another one. Just go back, rewind my video, and make another sleeve, just like you did before. There you go. Let's see. Sew up those sleeve seams. Find a good tutorial on mattress stitch. Look how lovely that looks. You can't even see. It's invisible. God bless whoever invented the mattress stitch. Here's what it looks like on the inside. Because you do a mattress stitch on the outside of the work. And so then look, there on the inside, there's my seam. I'm going to weave in all those ends. It's a lot of ends to weave in. It's worth it though. Well, I suppose it's not really that many ends. So there we go. There we go. We are done. And look at it. Look how cute. Look how I sewed some matching green buttons on there. They're exactly the same color as the yarn. Also purchased at Hobby Lobby. Thanks for watching, everybody.